Barracudas, sometimes called cudas, are large predatory ray-finned fishes that are notorious for their fearsome appearance and aggressive behavior. They're saltwater fishes that are found in tropical and subtropical oceans worldwide. They like to stay near the surface of the water and in coastal areas. This, combined with their peculiar appearance, has made them a target for sports fishing enthusiasts. Barracudas are scavengers and may mistake snorkelers for large predators, following them hoping to eat the remains of their prey. Sometimes they even bite divers, but this usually happens following cases of poor visibility. Another way barracudas can be dangerous is through a toxin known as CIGUATERA toxin. This can be found in the tissues of fishes such as the barracuda, moray eel, and sea bass. By consuming this CIGUATERA toxin, people can experience symptoms such as hypotension, dizziness, diarrhea, vomiting, stomach pain, and temperature reversal. CIGUATERA poisoning usually happens when very large barracudas are eaten without being cooked properly. Number 9. NADINE CLOER injured in a barracuda attack. The year was 1993 and the location was Miami, Florida. NADINE CLOER, a woman from Tampa, took a break from her school bus driving job to spend the week in a rented houseboat. She was fishing with her husband, 2 of her sisters, and a brother-in-law. What happened was that her brother-in-law hooked a 5-foot-long barracuda and NADINE saw it pass under the boat. The whole group got excited and NADINE rushed into the cabin to grab a video camera before the fish got away. As she was walking out of the deck, a much larger barracuda emerged from the water and lunged at her. The 8-foot-long fish jumped between 12 to 15 feet into the air to accomplish this. This resulted in NADINE needing 200 stitches as treatment. Number 8. 15 people fall sick from CIGUATERA poisoning. On March 1, 2016, 9 tourists visited Saipan, the largest island in the northern Marina Islands. The tourists visited a local Chinese restaurant and decided to order barracuda from the menu. They chose the meal along with 6 locals. As it turns out, the barracuda was not well done and was heavy with CIGUATERA toxins. As such, all fell sick and began to experience symptoms like dizziness, vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pains. Number 7. Kevin FAVER avoids a leaping barracuda. The incident took place on May 6, 2012 in St. Augustine, Florida. Captain Kevin FAVER, producer and host of the Tales from the Outdoors show, was on a fishing boat with co-host Bill Polikav. They were filming for their show when the event happened, with Kevin FAVER operating the camera and Bill Polikav operating the fishing rod. Bill caught onto something big and was straining against its weight. They could see flashes of silver on the surface of the water and started to get excited. Then, out of nowhere, the 40-pound barracuda burst out of the water in the direction of Bill. Luckily, he was able to dodge out of the way before it hit him. It continued to flap inside the boat right up until it died. Number 6. MAGGY Whitehouse faces off against a barracuda. In 1989, Maggie Whitehouse's husband of just 1 year died, leaving her depressed and suicidal. 6 weeks after that, she decided to visit Australia to spend some time in cairns with her friends. On the second day of her visit, she went to the barrier reef to do some snorkeling. Before they got into the water, the ship that ferried them warned them to avoid the deep water since 2 divers were killed by a giant barracuda some weeks ago. Absent-minded Maggie ignored these instructions. She swam around the boat where she came face to face with a large black barracuda. Even though her instincts were telling her to run, a voice in her head told her to face the creature. She swam straight at it and yelled underwater, frightening the creature. It then swam off, and Maggie was able to take a picture before it went away completely. Number 5. Man loses fingers in a barracuda attack. In the coastal waters of San Francisco, a man who withheld his name to protect his privacy went snorkeling with his friend from Panama, Gabriel DePayne, and his 13-year-old daughter, Marina. While in the water, they caught sight of a 6-foot-long barracuda. It had a distinct pale, creamy back, and although it was aware of them, it wasn't moving. The man eventually got bored of the barracuda and started to swim towards his daughter, who was drifting away from the group. On the way, there was a stunning blow to his hand, but he never quite saw what hit him. The ocean began to pool with blood, and, afraid it might attract some sharks, he started yelling for help from boats sailing by. Eventually, they were noticed and rescued. When the wound was attacked, the man realized that he had lost his little finger and the side of his hand forever. Number 4. Barracuda tears Bobby Martin's arm open. This incident happened in the Florida Keys as well, just a day before NADINE CLOER was attacked by a barracuda. Phil Shields, a Manatee County charter captain, had taken 47-year-old Bobby Martin and friends to catch snappers 15 miles west of Anna Maria Island. While Bobby and his friends were fishing, an enormous barracuda, perhaps the same one that attacked NADINE CLOER, leaped out of the ocean with its mouth open, flew over Captain Shields' head, and landed right on Bobby Martin's arm. With the full force of its 40 pounds, the barracuda knocked Martin off a bench and tore open his left arm. The barracuda fell off and then started thrashing the boat, causing lots of commotion. Only after it calmed down did everyone notice the blood and the extent of Martin's injury. He was taken to Bradenton's HCA L.W. Blake Memorial Hospital and treated with 24 stitches. Number 3. KATARINA says saves man following barracuda bite. This is yet another incident that took place in the Florida Keys. KATARINA says, who was on board a boat, observed everything as well. It was her swift action that caused the victim to be saved. A couple of people, including the bite victim, were snorkeling in the water. The victim was on vacation to celebrate his 30th wedding anniversary. While he was snorkeling, there was a school of baitfish swimming near the surface. Some other snorkelers were worried this would attract sharks and even claimed that they had sighted a few. Before anyone could make sense of the situation, the man was attacked by a large barracuda and not a shark. His knee began to bleed and he was struggling in the water. At that point, KATARINA, a registered nurse, yelled to draw others' attention so he could be helped out of the water and be treated by her. Number 2. Man gets CIGUATERA poisoning from eating barracuda. This story highlights alternative ways barracudas can be dangerous other than attacks on humans. Nathan H. Lentz had visited a tiny island off the coast of Honduras named Utila. After an encounter with a giant barracuda while swimming, he developed a taste for its flesh and decided to visit a seafood place with his friends to try it out. After eating a barracuda steak and going to bed, Lentz woke up deep in the night with stomach pain and diarrhea. Even though these short-term symptoms vanished the next day, the long-term symptoms persisted. This included muscle pain and an inability to distinguish between hot and cold. Number 1. KARRI LARSON impaled by barracuda. In October 2010, KARRI LARSON and her boyfriend, Michael Hinojosa, were kayaking in the Florida Keys. Hinojosa spotted a giant barracuda coming in their direction at a speed of 40 to 50 miles an hour. It was skipping across the water, diving in and out repeatedly. After the fish disappeared for a while, Larson and Hinojosa were wondering where it had gone. Then it exploded out of the water from their left, lunging straight at Larson. It ended up opening a hole right through her side, shattering her lung and causing her rib to be fractured. Hinojosa kept a hand on her punctured lung and then called emergency services. However, it was the towboat owner, Kevin Freestone, who ended up coming for the couple and taking them to safety. Are you still brave enough to swim in waters with barracudas?